The golden annals of ancient history tell the reign of pharaohs and pyramids piercing the sky. However, there is one chapter that no one talks about. It is a tale told from the sands of the Nile, where the sun shines relentlessly over a land steeped in a mystery and glory. This is the story of the Nubian Kings, also called the Black Pharaohs, whose names and deeds do not echo in our classrooms and museums. A forgotten dynasty that nevertheless remains a testament to Africa's glamorous past, a beacon of its early civilization, and an enduring symbol of its historical influence. These Black Pharaohs are not just a faceless imprint on ancient history, but powerful rulers who dominated the Nile Valley at a particular time and left their indelible mark. They emerged from the shadows of obscurity, affirming their power and dominance over a kingdom respected by the entire world. However, their reign is entangled in the tangled threads of history, their stories often overlooked and their importance underestimated. Traveling on the river of time, we will give voice to the quiet whispers of a great bygone era. In this video, we'll meet the Black Pharaohs, whose stories are so fascinating as they are instructive. We're about to enter into history we were never taught in school. Who were the Nubian Kings? The Nubian Kings, also known as the Black Pharaohs, were a remarkable dynasty. They originated from the Kingdom of Kush, present-day northern Sudan and Upper Egypt, and were pivotal in shaping a significant era in ancient Egypt. This dynasty, recognized as the 25th dynasty of Egypt or the Nubian dynasty, ruled parts or all of ancient Egypt for almost a century, from 744 to 656 BC. Highly Egyptianized, these kings not only adopted the Egyptian language and script, but also displayed an unusual devotion to the religious, artistic, and literary traditions of Egypt. This fusion of cultures can be explained by the influx of Egyptian immigrants, especially the priests of Amun. This event coinciding with the process of Egyptianization of the Nubian kings. The Black Pharaohs achieved the unification of Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, and Kush, creating the largest Egyptian empire since the New Kingdom. This was not only a political but also a cultural feat. They seamlessly integrated into society, affirming ancient Egyptian religious traditions and art forms while introducing unique aspects of Kush culture. During their reign, large-scale pyramid construction took place in the Nile Valley for the first time since the Middle Kingdom. However, their management is not without challenges. The Nubian kings clashed with the might of the Assyrian Empire, leading to the end of Kushite power in northern Egypt and the beginning of the late period of ancient Egypt. The term Black Pharaohs is the traditional representation of this dynasty. However, it is subject to scholar criticism as it implies that other dynasties did not have similar southern origins, thus ignoring the biological kinship between the ancient Nubians and the Egyptians. The city-state of Napata is the spiritual capital of the Nubian kings. It was from here that Pa, one of the most significant Nubian kings, began his successful invasion of Egypt. His victory is recorded in a long stela filled with hieroglyphs called the Stela of Victory, where he proclaims himself Pharaoh of all Egypt, and his divine kingship is emphasized by the titles Son of Ra and Favorite of Amun. This success was not born out of Egypt's exhaustion, but was the result of Kushan ambition, political skill, and strategic decision to unite Egypt in this particular way. Major figures in the Nubian dynasty. Let's dive into the profiles of some of the key figures of Egypt's 25th Nubian dynasty. Pa. Our story begins with Pa, the first pharaoh of the 25th dynasty, who began the Kushite conquest of Egypt from his homeland in northern Sudan. He is remembered as a religious and compassionate ruler with a special love for horses. Pa wanted horses as a gift, and 8 of his horses were buried with him. His love for horses was not only sentimental, as he was aware of this strategic value. Studies show that some of the best horses used in Egypt and Assyria were bred and exported from Nubia. These horses, along with improved chariots and cavalry tactics, played an important role in Pia's successful campaign against Tefnekht and his allies. Shabitku. After Pa, Shabitku ascended the throne, continuing Nubian rule over Egypt. According to recent archaeological evidence, Shabitku conquered the entire Nile Valley, including Upper and Lower Egypt, around 712 BC. After conquering Lower Egypt, he moved the capital to Memphis. King Sargon II of Assyria, in an inscription of 706 BC, calls Shabitku King of Maluka, confirming his rule over Egypt. His reign marked a period of consolidation and expansion of Nubian control over Egypt. Shabaka. Another significant figure in this dynasty is Shabaka. According to tradition, he placed the entire Nile Valley, all the way to the Delta, under the rule of the Kush Empire. He then began a program of rebuilding the great Egyptian monuments and temples, unlike his predecessors. This restoration of the holy places in Egypt became a symbol of the age of Egyptian archaism, of the return to the historical past that Shabaka initiated. Furthermore, Shabaka returns Egypt to the theocratic monarchy by becoming the first priest of Amun. His religious devotion is evident in the stone of Shabaka, providing us with a well-preserved example of Memphite theology. The text stresses that it was in Memphis that the unification of Egypt took place. The inscription also states that this city was where Osiris was buried after he was washed ashore. These three pharaohs stand out in the 25th dynasty for their contributions to the unification and reconstruction of Egypt, their strategic military actions, and their religious devotion. Their reign represents the pinnacle of Nubian power in Egypt, reflecting a period in which Nubian culture and influence were significant in the Nile Valley. However, the influence of the Nubian pharaohs was not limited to Egypt. They made attempts to expand their sphere of influence in the Middle East, which ultimately proved unsuccessful due to the might of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. Despite their defeat, these attempts symbolized the Nubians' quest for a more significant global presence and influence. The fall of the 25th dynasty marked the end of Kushite rule in northern Egypt due to the Assyrian conquest. However, their legacy lives on, leaving an indelible mark on Egyptian history and culture. Their rule remains a testament to the complex interweaving of different cultures. Artifacts and archaeological finds. Discovering the past often reveals treasures that change our understanding of history. The same is true of the archaeological discoveries associated with the Nubian Kings of Egypt's 25th dynasty, which uncovered a rich network of artifacts telling the story of their reign. One of the most stunning discoveries is the statue of King Taharka, an imposing figure who ruled the vast Nile Valley. The statue, which is now in the Cairo Museum, was originally discovered in Karnak and is a testament to the king's influence, which stretched from Nubia to Egypt's northmost cities. Taharka is depicted in the traditional pose of a pharaoh, proudly standing upright. The royal uraeus, or cobra, adorns his crown, indicating his divine authority over Upper and Lower Egypt. The Nubian Museum in Aswan houses a significant collection of artifacts from the time of the Nubian Kings. Its exhibits offer a fascinating journey through Nubian civilization, showing the integration of Nubian and Egyptian culture during the 25th dynasty. The museum provides invaluable insights into the religious, artistic, and social practices of this era. Undoubtedly, the greatest legacy left by this ancient civilization are the pyramids built by them. There are about 225 pyramids in Sudan today, but most people and tourists have never heard of them. The pyramids in Nubia are smaller, steeper, narrow, and made of rough stones. Most of these structures are temples. You won't see tourists hanging out in front of these pyramids. In fact, the most amazing thing is that after almost 3,000 years, they still rise above the hot sands of Sudan untouched. Standing their post in all their magnificence, they seem to zealously guard the history of a long-forgotten great civilization. An ancient belief states that if you do not have Nubian blood flowing through your veins, you should not cross the entrance to the pyramid, as you will disrupt the integrity of the tribal aurora. However, if you choose to transgress this superstition, you run the risk of the spirit of the one from whom the pyramid was intended cursing you, and the curse itself will weigh on you and the next 7 generations after you. Legend has it that when curious foreigners rushed to enter the pyramid, a terrible sandstorm suddenly appeared. The sand got into the eyes and mouth of the unwanted visitor, and sometimes it even went as far as to blind them. Nevertheless, the history of the Nubian kings is far from complete. Archaeologists are constantly making new discoveries that challenge and refine our understanding of this fascinating period. Views of experts. The history of the Black Pharaohs is rich and full of remarkable achievements that continue to excite historians and archaeologists today. Dr. Salima Ikram, a distinguished Egyptologist, recognizes the importance of these Nubian pharaohs. She notes, "The story is set in one of the richest cultures in the ancient world, a culture that was a conduit for the exchange of knowledge, wealth, and aesthetics from the interior of Africa to the rest of the world. It is a story that deserves to be told because it will broaden our understanding of African contributions to world culture and enable a better appreciation of an amazing civilization that stood at the crossroads of several great cultures. It is also a story of perseverance, political cleverness, and a strength of faith that led to the creation of a unique culture that has left us with some of the most beautiful and fascinating works of art and architecture form of the ancient world. It is one of the greatest human achievements." If you like what we do, support us by subscribing to the channel and leaving a comment below the video.